The Turks are certainly Final Fantasy VII's strangest villains. They're an eclectic mismatch of personality that acts as a mirror to Avalanche. Reno is the opposite of Cloud, a loud, violent, and eager fighter who shows no restraint in letting loose whenever the mission will allow for it. Their designs also share a spiky hairstyle and cyberpunk-like aesthetic native to FF7. Rude is Barrett's antithesis, a quiet, restrained fighter who would rather resolve things amicably than go in blasting, but both hide behind sunglasses, possibly only because it looks cool, which to be fair, it does. Elena is Tifa's inversion, an eager and energetic fresh face with no qualms or reserves about getting her hands dirty. Aside from their gender, I'm fairly certain the remake gives them the exact same face model, but I might be wrong. And Tseng is Aerith's double. He's an extremely reserved character, with no enthusiasm or interest in anything but his mission. Someone who seems to take a little joy in being in a position that allows for so much freedom. Although, admittedly, they don't look anything alike, but they do have a history together, as Tseng watched over Aerith when she was just a child. These characters act as a sort of proto-Team Rocket to Avalanche, popping up over the course of the story for a brief kerfuffle, but never have an entire section dedicated to just them. They're also an unusually energetic bunch, given their employers. Rufus and Tseng are both incredibly intense characters, who seem like they would have a low tolerance for tomfoolery. So having the irreverent Reno and clumsy Elena on the team seems like a stunt of elaborate trolling, and I can't honestly see either one of them tolerating it. But I guess that goes to show that Shinra isn't all bad. Nope, not gonna say it, that makes me want to throw up. See, the strange conundrum of the Turks to me is that they're a colourful bunch in what amounts to an evil capitalist empire. Now, you just have to take one look at the Shinra board of directors if you want to see a truly colourful bunch. However, this serves a purpose in portraying Shinra. By having the comically evil characters like Scarlet and Heidegger, it shows that the people on top of Shinra are so far detached from normal morals that it's impossible for you to feel sympathy towards them. Even Sephiroth, who commits one of the most despicable acts in video game history, can be seen as a tragic character whose mind was irreversibly shattered by a truth he couldn't overcome. Meanwhile, Shinra just murders thousands of people in order to kill like 6, and then blames it on you. They're as evil as you can possibly be. And speaking of Sector 7, it's the Turks who are the ones that drop the plate. So I'm a little confused about how I'm supposed to forgive these characters and think they're quirky after that. They're directly responsible for the second biggest atrocity in the game. I also think it's telling that Elena only joins the Turks after the plate is dropped, as I think the devs were aware that no one would buy this early 20s bright-eyed inspirationalist committing a false flag attack on her own city. One of my big hopes for Part 3 of the remake is that Reno, Rude, and Tseng face consequences for what they did in Sector 7, as it always made me uncomfortable about how Aerith is still kind to Tseng after what he did. But I can see the perfect moment for when all this goes down, when Tseng learns what happened to Aerith. As far as the original game is concerned, Tseng's role in the story is over after the Ancient Temple. He never appears in the original title again. Rebirth shows Tseng leaving the Ancient Temple, meaning he's going to be in Part 3, and he's going to learn what happened to Aerith. If this happens during the return to Midgar, when it's clear Hojo's gone mad, I can see him and the team defecting. I also want a moment where Elena's whole world gets shattered, because it would be excellent character development, not because I find her annoying and want to see her suffer, it would just be a good moment, that's all. As for Reno and Rude, I see them as quite a hardened duo, given how easily they accepted performing a terrorist act. I get the sense that these guys have done a lot of things that you couldn't show in Final Fantasy VII. When you look at them like that, their personalities become almost tragic. Reno has lost all regard for life, and loves to pick fights because it might be one of the only times he feels alive, like he can only exist when someone else is being hurt. And Rude could be viewed as someone who's locked away all their emotions following the example of their leader, unable to grapple with the things he's done for Shinra. Maybe there's a reason he hides behind those glasses. This also makes their relationship more interesting, as they do seem like an odd pair to match up. But if we look at it like Reno is the only one who will go too far to get the job done, and Rude is too numb to violence to stop him, then I can see how a company as despicable as Shinra would team them up. Overall, the Turks are a great addition to FF7's extensive roster of villains, but with the more dramatic tone of the remake, I'd like to see these characters come to terms with what they've done when the third part rolls around. I'll be back in 2 days. In the meantime, here's a video about why Barrett's ideology is wrong.